All right, welcome to our Yoga Foundations class. I'm Bree Morena de Santos. And in this particular session, we are going to be focusing on some beginner yoga elements. Like we'll be going through some beginner poses, but we're also going to add in some element of yoga or Pilates. A little Pilates infusion. Don't worry, nothing crazy. All the things you love. Yes. Mostly working La Banda, which is engage all our core, it strengthens our organs, especially our bladder, which is important, right, for all body as possible. And it's going to help us with work as well. So we're gonna, I'm teasing, but making sure, can you all hear me online? Oh, is it freezing for you
Yes,
all?
it was freezing a bit, but it's working now.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, well, let me know because I'm not sure what's happening over on my side. Okay, so we're gonna lie down on our back. We're going to have a block nearby or something like a block. And just take a moment, and before we get started, lengthen your legs, lengthen your arms. Let's allow the limbs to not touch each other. We're just going to feel ourselves like relaxing onto the earth here. Maybe start to allow your palms of your hands to face up toward the ceiling. And as you do, you can feel that external rotation from the shoulders as they ground themselves down to the mat. And then start to allow that relaxation through your hips, relaxing your glutes. And you're gonna feel your inner thighs, your legs, your ankles, and your toes start to splay out towards the edges of your mat. And take a moment and just observe your body in this position. Start to sense your breath. Just observing your breath, feeling your chest rise and fall. Start to notice your belly. Feeling the back of your body pressing into your mat. And with every exhale, you feel a little bit more calm, letting go of whatever came before this moment. Now start to draw your awareness to your toes and wiggle them around. To your fingers, wiggle the fingers. And feel the palms of your hands. Just feel the tingles, the energy. Drawing some awareness to that part of your body. And take a moment and offer yourself gratitude. Gratitude for your health, your life. Letting the small things count. And we're going to start to really engage our inhalations, feeling those deep inhales. Starting to feel your lungs fill up. Those slow exhales, maybe some audible exhales as you release a little sound from your body, from your mouth. And just noticing every time you exhale, your muscles get a little bit more relaxed. We're going to take a few rounds here. We will eventually start to engage our muscles, and I will guide us there in just a moment. Now, whenever you're ready, on your next inhale, you're going to tighten and tense up all of your muscles. You're going to feel your biceps, your chest muscles, your abdominals, your glutes, your thighs. Everything's going to engage. You can ball your hands into little fists. And then as you exhale, you release every single muscle. Take a moment, take a break. And when you're ready, you're going to inhale, engaging those muscles, starting to warm up the muscles in your body. You're going to feel that tension in your pelvic floor. And of course, as you exhale, you release it all. Yes to those audible exhales, really helping your nervous system calm. And at your own pace, you're going to take a few more rounds, just inhaling, tensing the muscles. Exhaling, letting it go. Now I have a lot of teachers and student teachers in this class, and they definitely are going to make it nice and comfortable for you new students. So you can just follow along as you hear their sounds, get more comfortable with releasing any tension in your body. Yes. We're going to take 3 more rounds. Really firing up those muscles, filling up those lungs, moving that oxygen right through the bloodstream. And when you've taken your final set, you're going to slowly start to bring your knees facing toward the sky or pointing toward the sky. Keep your feet on your mat. Bring your knees about hip distance apart, and then bring your hands over your head and just relax your shoulders down on your mat. We're going to take a moment here and just feel our body in time and space. And online, if you have any trouble hearing me, just please let me know. We're going to take a moment and we're going to do some windshield wipers, just letting the knees fall from side to side. Now imagine that it's just a nice little drizzle, not a super rainy storm. So take your time. Let your back get a gentle massage. Releasing any tension in your lumbar spine, relaxing through your hips. And then start to move your body with your breath. So inhaling the knees as they point toward the ceiling, exhaling them as they drop from side to side. Yes. Remembering that breathing is the most important part of the practice. And as you become more comfortable with your breath work, you can have more diaphragmatic breathing, deeper inhales, slower exhales, and maybe start to isolate your breath through your nostrils. Inhaling through your nose, exhaling out of your nose, which is kind of hard in the weather, right? One more round, and then we're going to draw our knees toward our chest. And you can hook your hands under your knees, or you can bring your hands on top of your legs over your knees, whichever makes more sense for your body. And we're just going to draw the knees in, give them a little squeeze, give yourself a little hug here. If you like, you can even lift your head up, nose toward your knees, and then slowly release your head and shoulders back down. We're going to lift our legs towards the ceiling, point your toes back towards your nose. We're going to bring our hands behind our legs. And as you inhale, you're going to draw your thighs toward your belly. You're going to lift your tailbone a little bit off of the mat, most likely. And then exhale, release. Now, if you need to bend your knees here, honor that. But the goal is to invite that stretch through the back of your legs. So keeping the legs as lengthened as possible is the goal. but please do listen to your body. Inhale, drawing the legs towards the body. Exhale, releasing. You are going to be flexing through your biceps here. So you're going to get a little bit of a pulling effect as you draw those legs in. And as you're activating these larger muscles, stretching through your hamstrings, just starting to make sure the blood is flowing. Really paying attention to your breath, only moving as fast as it makes sense for your breathing. One more round of breath. And then we're going to hold those legs towards our body. You might start to feel a little bit of a shake or a little bit of a strain. As long as you're not in pain, just allow your exhalations to release the tension in your muscles. One more round of breath. And then exhale, just release that tension from your arms. Keep your legs where they're at. Grab your block. And we're going to place it right in between the thighs. So just take a moment, observe where you want your block to be. You don't want the block right in between your knees, so just below your knees or lower, whatever makes sense for your body. And then we're going to bend the knees. We're going to drop the feet back to the mat and make any adjustments you need. Find your breath. All right, we're going to bring our hands right on top of our waist or our hips or even on top of the belly. We're going to take a moment. We're just going to observe the squeezing of the block. Inhale, squeeze. Exhale, release. Just gentle, subtle movement. For my Pilates lovers, this is going to remind you of a more of a Pilates practice. Maybe you're used to using a wheel or a ball, but in yoga, we can use a block. Gentle inhales as you squeeze, exhales as you release. That's right. Now you're going to hold that block on the squeeze, but not hold your breath, which is a little bit of a brain challenge. So hold the block, but not your breath. And now we're going to do those pelvic tilts. So we're going to tilt our pelvis toward our toes. You're going to feel a little lift in your lumbar spine, like I can roll a grape right under your spine. And as you exhale, you're going to tilt your pelvis towards your nose or toward 12 o'clock. And you're going to flatten your spine on your mat. And you're going to squash that grape. And then exhale, tilt your pelvis towards 6 o'clock or towards your toes. Squeeze the block. And inhale, pelvis towards your nose or 12 o'clock. And then squeeze the block next time it makes sense. So moving through your own practice here, you're going to just get that pelvic flexion, tilting your pelvis. And when you take a break, you squeeze the block. And then you look for your next breath, your inhale, your exhale. There's no wrong way to do this. It's more of observation of your body. And there's a lot going on here. So if it feels better for you to just hold the block in between your thighs, but not squeeze it, and just focus on your pelvic tilts and your breath, honor that. If you want to take that progression, then yes, squeezing the block every chance you get. Maybe it's after one round of breath, maybe it's in between rounds, maybe it's throughout. You're going to start to feel your muscles firing up in your thighs. One more round of breath, and we're going to progress this. You can draw your hands down by your sides, palms facing down, feeling your palms pressing into your yoga mat. And now, instead of squeezing your block, you're just going to hold your block in between your thighs. Bring yourself back to a neutralized spine. Take a moment, feel your shoulders relax. And now you're going to tilt your pelvis toward your nose, and you're going to slowly lift your hips up toward the sky. Doing a nice, gentle, articulated bridge. Your shoulders will be the only thing on the mat as your hips are lifting up. And if you like, you can squeeze your block when you arrive. As you exhale, slowly start to melt your spine back down to the mat, with your tailbone being the last thing to arrive as your hips lower. Tilt your pelvis toward your toes and feel your flexion in your lumbar spine, and then maybe squeeze the block. And then, of course, as you tilt your pelvis toward your nose, you flatten your spine onto the mat, you peel your hips off of the earth up toward the sky, and then squeeze your block. So going through your own pace, we're going to take 2 rounds. And if you want to take the progression, you can raise your hands up toward the sky, toward the ceiling, and pretend you're holding a beach ball. Draw your shoulders back down to the mat. Make sure your shoulders aren't lifting like you're actually trying to reach the ceiling. Draw the shoulders back down, lift your hands up, and give yourself a balance challenge. Totally optional. That's right. So we're doing a lot here. So this is a mindful practice. We are breathing. We are in the present. We're doing those spinal flexions. We're getting into those pelvic flexions. We're squeezing the block. And for some of us, we're taking that balance challenge. So I'm going to leave you in a little bit of silence, taking 3 more rounds at your own pace. We will stop with our hips lifted up toward the ceiling. Most of us should be entering into our 3rd or final set as we slowly draw our hips up toward the ceiling. If you're still working through your final, that is fine. We'll all hang out here. Keeping your hips lifted. If you like, take a little squeeze as you pulse the block in between your thighs. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Find your breath, keep squeezing, find your breath, and keep squeezing. And slowly beginning to relax, release, exhale, and lower. Woo! Draw those knees into your chest, keep the block where you have it. Rock from side to side if that feels okay. Now we're going to become BFFs with this block for a little bit, so hang tight. Or as I said in my last class, the block is your Valentine. So love on it. We're going to drop our feet back down to the mat. We're going to release the block for just a moment. Keep it near you, and we're going to squeeze those knees back into our body yet again. We're going to keep that right knee in, and we're going to lengthen that left leg. And squeeze that knee toward your chest or toward your armpit. Go ahead and release that top ankle, making little circles or pointing and flexing. Wiggle your toes. We're just going to get right into that hip flexor. Find your breath. Your hands can be hooked over your knee or always under your knee too. Sometimes under the knee gives you a little bit more grip and support. One more round of breath. And then exhale as you bring both knees into your body, switching sides. Wiggle those toes, relax that ankle, point and flex, all of the things. And again, you're going to draw that knee as close to your chest as you can bring it. Maybe it's going to come through to your armpit if you want to get a little bit deeper into that flexor. And then look for your next exhale. Draw your knees back to your body. You have a few options here. If you want to be 5 years old again, you can roll up to a seat and massage your spine, taking a few rounds of roll up. or you can just come over onto one side and make your way up. I see a bunch of 5-year-old aspirees here, so I appreciate that. All right, wonderful. We're gonna come back into our feet being glued together. Coming into that bound angle pose or that butterfly. Hands can land wherever, yeah? So take a moment, we're gonna look for a lengthened spine. Draw your shoulders into your ears and just gently float them behind you. Just adding that expansion, getting that space into your chest, shoulder to shoulder, drawing the blades together behind you. Now we're going to take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, tuck your chin, but do not round your spine beyond your normal rounding, right? Find your breath here, maybe noticing if there's a little bit of a challenge, finding the breath while holding the pose. And then look for your next exhale, start to tuck your chin, go ahead and round your spine, draw your shoulders forward, feel your heart encapsulating, and just take a moment and enjoy this. You're gonna feel like a little pressure down towards your tailbone as it expands. And you can hold this pose exactly as it is, or you can start to draw your nose closer toward your toes. Now, a lot of time when I'm doing like a therapeutic practice, I advise you not to press your arms into your inner thighs, but in this class, feel free. All my teachers that expanded their arms and just really pressed in. Don't worry, you don't have to care about what I just said. Also, you can ignore that. If you know, it's one of those things. Find your breath. A lot of times when we're practicing yoga, we do things that are like intuitive to us. And a lot of people who practice yoga are looking for their hips to open as much as possible. So sometimes we have to stop you. Stop it. But today, feel free. Taking another round of breath. Yes, we're gonna slowly rise. Take your time. Let your head float right on top of your shoulders, nice and slow. Full disclosure, I taught something similar, a little bit more challenging in the last class, and I'm not gonna like myself tomorrow. We're gonna bring the block right in between the thighs. I was telling my last class, I did not practice yoga all week, yet here we are. We're gonna walk our hands right behind us, just so you can have some support. And we're gonna go into that reverse tabletop. So you're just going to lift your hips. Now you can sink them a little if that feels best for you. I think it's a lot of pressure on the arms. And your hands and fingers can point wherever it makes sense. If you keep lifting, it's gonna be less pressure on your arms, but pressure somewhere new. Eye gaze is forward. Find your breath. Now squeeze your block. We're gonna exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, slowly rise. Not okay. Exhale, slowly lower.
This should be a picture.
She just added like 10 pounds to my practice. Taking one more round, we're gonna hold it at the top. I know, you're feeling it. And then do a little pulse, pulse, pulse. Find your breath. And slowly exhale, let it go. Woo! Go ahead and bring your hands right under your knees. Take a moment, let's do some shoulder rolls. Yeah. Find your breath. Yes. All right, here's another challenge, my dears. We're gonna slowly shift our weight toward our tailbones. Actually, before we do that, let's do some gentle cat-cows from here. So squeeze your block, inhale, take the nose up, draw the shoulder blades together, grab onto the unders of your knees and draw yourself together. Exhale, tuck your chin, round your spine, lengthen your arms. And we're just doing some seated cat-cows here. Inhale, imagine you're a happy cow smelling roses. And exhale into your mad cat back. At your own pace, I might be moving a little too fast. So feel free to take it nice and slower, maybe hanging out in mad cat or happy cow. And what's fascinating is when we hold the block here, we're also encouraging our body to find its own natural alignment, which you're going to see here shortly. So even if you're not squeezing the block, you're giving yourself a little bit of a mission by having it there, that tactile feedback. One more round, and we're gonna come back to a nice neutralized spine, and then we're gonna go into our balance challenge. Coming into boat pose Navasana, we're gonna slowly shift our weight a little bit back. We're gonna hold on to our legs, and then maybe lift one foot and then lift the other and see if we can find that balance. You got it, Frank. And then if you want, you can release those hands, totally optional. Totally optional. And if you want to keep this party going, you can lengthen. Find your breath. One more round. That is right. Exhale, release. Woo! Go ahead and release your block for just a moment. My brand new students just did this. Yes. Go ahead and give yourself a hug. Find your breath. Now, for those of you who like to progress your body into these different movements, I'm going to give you an option to do that. We're going to place the block back in between our thighs. Option to not do this once you hear what we're going to do. So I'll give you a quick demo. I mean, it's not that hard, but also option to not do it. So we're just going to keep the block. We're going to squeeze it, and we're going to come over onto all four with the block. See, not too bad. Oh, nice. Yes, yes. So a lot of what we do in yoga, I like to think is functional, right? And how can we add this into our lives one day? So somehow this is going to serve you in 82 years. Okay, my dears, we're going to tuck our toes and lift our knees. We're going to take just a little hover, just enough to engage the core, and then float your tail to the sky for our first down dog. For my brand new students, don't worry, this isn't normal. And we're gonna come through the toes. We're gonna lift those heels off of the mat. They're probably already lifted anyway. We're gonna come into those tippy toes, just shifting our weight a little bit forward. One more round of breath. Squeeze your block, and then slowly bend your knees and walk your hands towards your feet. Now, if you have a secondary block, you can place it right under your hands at any time. You can also ditch your block in between your thighs at any time. So we're gonna slowly rise, take your time. Let your head be the last. And then you're going to keep that block if you're using it. Inhale the hands up. And then exhale the hands to your heart. You're going to hang out here for just a moment. I'm going to adjust the scenery here. Find your breath. Keep holding onto your block if you're using it. We're going to reverse the palms towards the ceiling. And stretch in both directions. And then exhale, take a little heart opener. We're going to slowly start to separate those hands as we swan dive. Take your time, hinging at the hips. Bend your knees whenever you need to. Inhale, we're going to bring those fingertips all the way up our shins to our knees, lifting halfway. Neutralizing a spine. Exhale, fold. We're going to bend the knees, and we're going to take up space here like the sun is rising. We're going to come into chair pose, Utkatasana. Squeeze your block. Eye gazes are going to go down towards the top of your mat. Release any tension in your neck. Your neck should be in line with your tailbone. Shoulders are going to be dropping down into your back body. And technically, for my yoga for beginners teachers and my new students, this is great to add this tactile support in your block in between your thighs, because it helps you align your body into the posture as well. We're going to take our hands into cactus, so we're just going to bend those elbows. And then we're going to inhale, lift everything up. Eye gazes go towards the ceiling. Exhale, go back to where you came from. Pretend you're sitting in a chair. That's right. One more time. Inhale, rise. And then exhale, we're going to settle down. Exhale, release it. Woo, hands to your heart. And fold forward. Go ahead and release your block and bring it right under your hands. You can take any level, tower or higher, whatever makes sense for you. And we're going to pedal it out. So you're halfway. You're not in a full forward fold. Find your breath. We're going to gently make our way into a little baby plank option for those of you who want to progress this by placing the block in between your thighs. You can draw the block back where you had it. And then you can bend the knees and we're going to walk it out like a panther. You also have the option to not use your block here, yes? Take a moment, just find a gentle little plank and then drop your knees, flatten your feet. Remove your block and bring it right under your forehead as you go into a child's pose. Oops. And then we're gonna hang out here. Your legs can be together, your belly can rest atop of your thigh, or your legs can be separated, knees as wide as the mat, and your belly can rest in between your thighs. Just take a moment, we're gonna rest our forehead on our block, and we're gonna just focus on our breath for a few rounds. Enjoy. Maybe taking some of those audible exhales. That's right. Allowing your nervous system to relax. Yes. Wonderful. Now starting to add in those deeper inhalations. As you inhale, you can really feel the back of your body expand. Imagining you're a hot air balloon. Inhaling, feeling the sides of your body expand, the back of your body, your belly. Whatever that looks like for your body. Maybe it's subtle, maybe it's more extreme. Yes. Yes. One more round, lovelies. And then we're going to come into some traditional cat-cows. So from your child's pose, coming back through the tabletop. Good. Everybody online looks to be able to hear me. Bring your eyes right in between your thumbs. You want that relaxation through the nape of your neck, through your tailbone. Spread your fingers, press your palms into your mat, right under your shoulders, and your knees are about hip distance apart. Your feet can be flat or tucked. Take a moment, just feel yourself as a table. Perfect physics right now, which I failed in college. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, tuck your chin, round your spine. Next time you inhale, drop your belly, lift your nose. Imagine that happy cow smelling those roses. I like to tuck my toes when I'm in happy cow, but do whatever makes sense for you. And then of course, as you exhale, tuck your chin. As you tuck your chin on that exhale, if you want to add in that sound, you massage your thyroid gland, getting right into your hormones, your endocrine system. And just keep moving through the posture at your own pace here. Maybe you feel like hanging out a little bit longer in one of the poses. And this is where that blanket under the knees might really feel delicious, right? So honor that if your knees are a little tired. Probably the biggest downside to practicing yoga as an adult is the whole knee on the earth on a tiny little mat thing. One more round of breath. That's right. And we're going to come back to center. We're going to walk our right foot in between our thumbs. Just take your time arriving. That back leg is going to slide behind you until it's mostly lengthened. This is a great place to have your blocks or a block if you like. And it's not because you need the block, right? It's because it's giving you that ability to really ground yourself. And sometimes when our hands are floating over the mat with just like spider hands, we don't get to actually press into it. So having that block gives us that opportunity to really press into the block. And then we can create that counter feeling of pressing and grounding as we release any tension in our entire hip region. Hey, that's rain, right? Okay. Sounds like it, but that's what I thought last class. So look for your exhales. And every exhale, you're going to almost invite your pelvis to dip toward the mat. Even though it's not moving, maybe, it's like energetically grounding that way. And you might feel that stretch. It might start to feel a bit uncomfortable, or maybe it's just me. Find your breath. And this is another place I like my blocks, because as I exhale, I lengthen that front leg, and it feels like a gentler transition because of that lift through the blocks. But of course, totally optional. Toes are gonna come toward the nose, just releasing any tension under that knee. And relax any tension in your jaw, your shoulders. Maybe a slight tuck of the chin toward the body. Every exhale, you just allow that lengthened leg to get a little bit more relaxed. One more round of breath here. And then exhale, bring it back center. In yoga, we do a lot of stretching with the breath, which is really good for the body. Tuck the back toe, lift that knee. We're gonna come into that lower lunge. You can place a block under that left hand, right hand to the sky, twisting toward that thigh. Now, if you would like to drop that back knee, honor that. I just like to lift it here after we had our knee down for so long. One more round of breath. Exhale, bring it back center. We're gonna step that back foot forward, and we're gonna step the right foot back. Take a moment, just reposition and transition your body. Drop that back knee, flatten that back foot. Take a moment here. Again, utilize your blocks as you see fit. Pressing into the blocks or pressing into the mat. Drawing your pelvis down. Exhaling and releasing any tension. Looking for that stretch. Yes. Making sure you're not holding any unnecessary tension in the face. So sometimes like wiggling the eyebrows, fluttering the eyes. And of course, taking the tip of the tongue to the top of the mouth and just letting the jaw completely get the sensation of relaxing. Maybe take a swallow. Yes, swallowing can be mindful. It's also a little neurotic when you get into that. One more round of breath. Yes. As you exhale, shift your weight back, lengthen that front leg, draw those toes towards your nose, release any tension in beneath your knee. Now the hands can go wherever you like, right? Sometimes right next to the hips, a little bit forward, or all the way stretched. Whatever makes sense for your neck, your body. Find your breath. And then on your next exhale, just bring yourself forward. We're gonna tuck the back toe, lift that back knee. We try to make our transitions during our exhales just so our nervous system can stay calm. Now your hand could be on top of that block on the right hand, left hand to the sky, twisting toward that thigh. Again, if you prefer to lower that back knee and drop it and flatten that foot, honor that. I just like to give our knee a little bit of a break here. One more round of breath. And exhale, hands to the mat. Back foot's gonna step to reach to the front, and we're just gonna pedal it out. So just wiggle it out. Release any tension in your body. And then you're gonna slowly bend those knees, feel your feet pressing into the mat, lift your toes, drop them one by one, and then slowly roll up. Just notice how grounded you feel from the waist down. Your head will slowly start to float on top of your shoulders. And inhale the hands into the air. We're gonna bring that right hand over to that left wrist. We're going to stretch the body over to the right. I like to draw my shoulders just behind my ears, getting a little bit more into my neck, my shoulders, and my upper back. But whatever feels good for you. Press through the bottoms of your feet, rise. Exhale, switch sides, grabbing onto the opposite wrist. And just getting that nice, delicious stretch. And then inhale up, exhale, swan dive. Inhale, lifting halfway, let those fingers come all the way up and graze the shin to the knees. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees. We're gonna step into a gentle plank. Drop our knees, flatten our feet. We're gonna do a yogi push-up here. So we're gonna bend those elbows, nose to the earth. Inhale into a little cobra, or imagine you're a sill on a rock. Nose lifted high. Exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Don't worry about your heels touching the mat. If your heels touch the mat, it just means you have very flexible hamstrings. Fingers are spread, palms are placed into the mat. Yes. You look amazing. This pose is all about the spine. The legs are just there. So if you need to bend those knees so that your spine feels more neutralized, please do that. We're gonna slowly walk the toes to meet the hands. Bend the knees and slowly rise. Take your time, nice and slow, no rush. Inhale the hands up and exhale them to your heart. We're gonna take a nice gentle mountain pose, Tadasana. So we're gonna come into traditional, upside down V. Take a moment, imagine you're a mountain, because that's what it should feel like for your body. So we're gonna start off by doing a root to rise. So notice your feet. You can be feet together, hip distance apart, or even wider if you need the balance, yeah? So just, if you feel a little unbalanced, just stand a little wider. And then take a moment and lift your toes off of the mat and then drop them one by one. Release any tension you just caused behind your knees, so just relax the knees. Relax through the glutes. And then imagine someone you love, otherwise it's weird, comes up behind you and sort of just guides right under your armpits and is like helping you get stretchy and taller, and like they lift you up. So feel that stretch coming through your side body. Draw your shoulders towards your ears and gently float them behind you. You don't want to stick your chest out. You just want to kind of open up and expand through your chest. And now you're really starting to feel that mountain. And then allow your head to stay nice and floating equally right on top of your shoulders. So you're not lifting too high, you're not too low, just right. And then take a moment, if you like, you can soften your gazes, or you can take your eyes off the tip of your nose, or you can just look for a spot in space and focus on it. Everyone around you should be nice and blurry. And as you engage in mountain pose, start to notice your breath. Imagining that you're inhaling through the bottoms of your feet. And as you exhale, it slowly grounds your energy yet again. Now, the more breath work you're doing in this pose, the more likely it's going to start to feel like you're almost floating off of the mat. Your body's going to get really light on that inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to really feel that grounding effect. So start to bring your awareness there. Continuously relaxing all of the different muscles that keep trying to tense up. Each of us have our own thing happening in our body, and our nervous system is trying to bring you back to what it thinks is balance. And sometimes those are not things we want to do anymore, or we want to lean in on. So we have to rewire the nervous system, but it's going to take a while. Find your breath, one more round. Yes. And on your next inhale, inhale the hands up. And this time we're going to exhale our hands right through our heart center into prayer hands, taking them all the way down to the mat. Bend your knees whenever you need to. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Stepping into that final plank. Take your time. And then drop your knees, flatten your feet, and take your tail to your heels. And we're going to slowly roll up into a seat. So now you're seated on your heels. And then take a moment, imagine you were just in mountain pose and reposition your body except for the folded legs, right? So shoulders, that chest expands, you can feel your blades coming together. And then your nose isn't too high, your chin isn't too tucked, everything's nice and neutral for a moment. That's right. Now we're gonna inhale our hands up and exhale our hands back to prayer center or namaste. Yes, now do a nice tuck of the chin toward the body. Find your breath. And if you want to take the functional progression, you're going to come onto a seat without moving your hands. So you're just going to sweep around. If that's too much, bring your hands down and support your body. Yeah? Okay. We did it. Just those little functional things, right? Like trying not to use the hands sometimes, little things like that. Grab your block, place it right under your knee. Yeah. And then we're gonna take a moment, we're gonna do a nice little fold as we collapse into our body. So inhale up. Imagine you're holding a hat and you're gonna slowly just drop that hat on your toes. Nice and relaxed, let the body melt into itself. Shoulders are gonna come down, hands are gonna float down. And we're gonna take 3 rounds of breath here. Deep inhales and exhale. And then we're gonna slowly rise, take our time. We're gonna release that block. We're gonna lengthen the legs and we're gonna bend one knee. You can pick your favorite knee. The other toes are towards your nose, the lengthened leg just to release any tension and also create that grounding. We're gonna grab that leg and we're just gonna draw it over the lengthened leg. That's right. So now you're gonna feel that stretch happening on the outer of the hip a bit more. And we're just gonna squeeze that knee towards us and you can stay here. This is great. You have an option to take the opposite arm and hook it to that knee. And I like to take the opposite arm into the sky, taking that nice gentle external rotation of that shoulder and landing it onto the mat. You can also have a block behind you if you need that support. So we want that entire shoulder to be nice and twisted, not just the neck and the head, basically. And then we're going to press the hand that is kickstanding us a little bit into the mat or into the earth. And we're going to lengthen through our body. We're going to feel the stretches start to show up wherever they may. And as long as you can breathe, and as long as you don't feel any pain, then you're going to exhale into that lengthening, into that stretch, every chance you get. Finding your breath. Sometimes it's harder to breathe here because we're compressing our belly near our thigh. And you can untwist a little bit if you need to. One more round of breath. That's right. Yes. And then exhale, untwist nice and slow. Woo. And we're going to open up that twist and we're just going to twist our bodies so we can get that counter position. Doesn't that feel good? One more round of breath. And then exhale, bring it center. We're going to lengthen the legs and we're going to wiggle it out. So just kind of pedal it out, wiggle it out. If you felt a lot in your hips, you can tap them out, kind of reminding the body to get the blood flowing. Give yourself a little massage, whatever feels good, yeah? All of that's normal. And then draw your second favorite knee into your body. Toes to your nose. I've been teaching so much kid yoga the last like 6 months, I don't remember how to teach adults anymore. So keep that hand in, that knee in, and you can stay here. Remember that, especially if your body's different on the other side. Maybe there's a reason why you don't want to continue this party. And then if you like, you can hook that opposite arm. I like to take that hand through the sky, getting that external rotation, and then landing that hand behind me. Remembering you're looking for the entire shoulder to twist and open up, not just looking behind you like you're driving, looking to see who's behind you before you make your turn. No. We want to turn the entire body into that twist. Again, notice if you're having any difficulty breathing, you can untwist a bit. And every exhale, you can see if you want to get deeper. or if you just want to relax every supporting muscle. Deep inhales, slow, relaxed exhale. The slower we exhale, the more likely you'll come back to another class. Just means your nervous system's happy. One more round of breath, lovelies. I like all the modifications I'm seeing and the progressions. And as you exhale, we're going to take that counter. So go ahead and hook your opposite arm and just release and kickstand and let it go. This should feel like an enjoyment, hopefully. Yes, I like that, Audra. If you want to release your neck, anything that comes up for you, do it. That's the difference between us adults and teenagers. We can do what we want. Exhale, bring it center. Yeah, don't forget that when you're practicing yoga. If you need something that the teacher is not saying, just do it, right? Including the bathroom. All right, go ahead and wiggle it out. Yeah. All right, my dears, totally optional to do the Pilates roll down from boat pose. Optional to just go right onto your forearms and lie down. So if you want to take it, we're going to bring our hands right under those knees again. You did this already. And we're going to lift those legs. You can release your hands. Option to lengthen and slowly roll down. At any time this becomes crazy, then just lie down. Lengthen your hands away overhead. Get your Saturn yay stretch. Woo. Yes. That's right. Draw those knees into your body. Yeah. We're going to grab that block. If you need me to come give you your block, I'm happy to do that. Oh, we're using feet. We're fishing for it. Okay, good. So bring that block near you. We're going to drop our feet to the mat and our knees back to the sky. We're going to press up into bridge and we're going to slide that block right under our lower back. I like to call it the muffin top area, but I'm not speaking to you, I'm speaking to myself. Now take a moment and notice what you need, and feel free to make more adjustments in a minute. So it is a block, and if you're not used to using a block, it's gonna feel very hard. So that's okay. So take a moment here. Now we're going to eventually lift our legs up toward the sky, and this is where you might notice that wherever you placed your block is not where you want it. You do not want this to feel like an abdominal workout. So if your abs are super fired up, then change your block. Maybe lower it, maybe take it a little bit lower or a little bit higher on your body or the side that the block is on. And it should feel more relaxing. It should feel like your legs are literally up a wall right now. And just take a moment, see if you can relax into this. You are in an inversion, which means your head is below your heart. And that means that the blood is now going in the opposite direction towards your head. This should feel relaxing, but for some it makes you feel nauseous or dizzy, then release your block. And just take a moment and see if we can observe our breath for 5 rounds. Yes. Whenever you are free from your 5 rounds of breath, you're going to slowly lower and release your block. Take your time, don't let me rush you. Yes. And upon arrival, it might feel good to give your knees a squeeze, give yourself a hug, rock from side to side, make big circles like you're painting the full moon into the sky, massaging your lower back, or taking some windshield wipers. Now, if you are advanced in your practice, please feel free to do whatever feels good for your body. For the rest of us, I would love to invite us to take Happy Baby. So you're gonna bend your knees towards your armpits. You're gonna grab the outer edges of your feet like you're a happy baby getting its diaper changed. Right? Turns out babies do this. It's pretty neat. And if you like, you can draw the bottoms of the feet together if that feels better. I kind of like the butterfly in the sky effect. And this is just our final little hip opener. This is also known as wind release. So you do the math. I'm just saying. And then taking one more round of breath wherever you are at. Yes. And then slowly coming out of this, if there's any final twists or turns or just intuitive stretches that your body is craving, please check in with your body really quick, see what you need. And then we're going to come back to our traditional Shavasana. So we're going to lie down on our backs, let our hands splay out to the side. This should look like mountain pose, except lying down. Your hands can be face down or your palms or face up, yogi's choice. You can also place your palms anywhere else, your hips, your belly. And if this doesn't feel relaxing enough, you can draw the bottoms of the feet together if that feels better. So just take a moment and observe your body. Yes. And start to observe your breath. And with every exhale, allow your body to get more grounded and relaxed. That's right. Allow yourself to begin to imagine a symbol of peace. Maybe it's the peace sign, a tree, a cross, a pet, whatever it may be, allow that image to enter into your mind's eye. The sign of peace. Now start to imagine a color glowing through that peace sign. Maybe it's yellow or gold or white, pink, blue, whatever resonates with you. As you begin to inhale, imagine that light, that peace sign illuminating bright and big and bold. And as you exhale, the light dims, the peace sort of melts away, everything becomes quiet and calm. And then inhale, allowing that vibrant illumination take over. Moving through your inhales and exhales as the light begins to shine bright and dim low. And eventually it will dim so much that you no longer see it and you go into complete rest and relaxation. To allow your senses to be activated. Starting to listen for the music, the sound of the hanging drum, or perhaps any sounds in your environment. Allow those sounds to become louder and louder. And then starting to allow the sensations of the breath to move through your body. And if you like, rolling over onto your right side, resting your head on top of your arm, drawing your knees toward your chest, curling into a little ball. And just take a moment here and observe your body in this position. And taking a moment and pressing your hand into the mat, allowing yourself to slowly lift and float like a feather to a seat. Allowing your eyes to be soft and relaxed. I would love to invite you to place one hand over your heart, maybe the other over your belly or top of that hand. Take a slight tuck of the chin toward your chest. Relax your jaw and your shoulders. And take a moment and just offer yourself love and gratitude. And then let's send love to each other all around the room and into the ether. And let's send love and especially peace out into our community. Let's seal in all of these wonderful intentions with a deep inhale, but practice non-attachment and let it go. Thank you for allowing me to guide you. Happy Saturday. Go in peace, love and light. Namaste. Yay. We did it. I'll see you all. Don't forget, if you're a part of the 300 hour, we are off today. If you're a part of the 200 hour, we are on today. And I will see maybe some of you. Hugs and kisses. Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Bye, honey.
Bye-bye.